Morning, Mr Widjojo. I've prepared a brief on how I intend to monitor the ongoing management of the supply chain strategy and how continuous improvement strategies can be used to monitor the performance of the IAJ company. I would first like to start off with highlighting the metrics we are going to use to measure costs. We should implement a logistics-oriented cost accounting system which identifies total logistics costs in all of IAJ's departments and their impacts. We need to look at costs associated with the assets such as accounts receivable and property and equipment. Also, return on investment and total inventory costs. Firstly, as you know, the issues we have with our cattle being held up at stations, we need to determine the risk costs, which can include the likelihood of something happening to the cattle prior to transit, as well as consequences like potential loss of sales, as well as damaging of reputation or partnerships with clients. I have processed the raw data and graphed the average of time the cattle have spent at the holding yards before being shipped over a 6-month period. As you can see, the graph indicates that the cattle are being held on average of 8 to 12 days. This data highlights the need to look at our transport system and address time issues with transporting our cattle more efficiently. Effective relationships with partners in our supply chain need to have a high level of information sharing, mutual assistance in all areas of business. Some tactical measures we can implement may include suppliers' ability to assist in solving technical and quality problems. Also, supplier cost-saving initiatives and their booking in procedures, as well as buyer-supplier partnership level. The way we measure customer service satisfaction may include customer query times, as well as flexibility of service systems to meet particular customer needs. One area of concern with IAJ is the time taken paying our suppliers, as you are already aware. I've collected raw data from the times it has taken for invoices to be paid from various suppliers and have graphed this information over a 6-month period. As you can see in this graph, we are not meeting our legal and ethical responsibilities in paying our suppliers within a 30-day cycle and therefore fracturing our relationship with them. This also needs to be addressed with the finance department in our next meeting. The way we will review our technology and software will be to analyze our existing operating system, which will include hardware, software, and network capabilities. To analyze the way information systems are input into the system, as well as how they are processed, stored, and controlled. Some areas to be considered include performance of the hardware, such as speed and capabilities. Another area is scalability and whether it meets user demands and processing requests. It is also important to assess the quality of the software, like whether it is free of bugs, as well as meeting security requirements, like control procedures for any errors or malfunctions. This requires all stakeholders being involved and kept informed of these updates, as it affects everyone involved in IAJ. Mr Widjojo, you asked about how we are to implement a continuous improvement plan, and this is how we're going to do it. We'll provide a plan, do, check, and act continuous improvements process with a collection of recorded data, reports developed from this data, and recommendations based on the information. Plan clear objectives, steps to be taken for the change to take place, who is responsible to implement changes, and the time taken for those changes to occur. Do, actions taken from data collected. Check, the actual results compared to the expected results. act, highlight the changes that need to be made and the process by which they are to be addressed, and come up with steps for continuous improvement. Improvements to supply chain management strategies will be accomplished in a systematic and controlled way and would be revisited in a cyclical fashion. Thank you, Mr Widjojo, for your time, and look forward to working with you and making improvements for the ongoing management strategy of the company.